A person from Miami advises a person in Alaska to step out of their comfort zone. Sounds familiar? This joke from the internet hits right at the heart of the modern world of self-improvement. Today, everyone is universally fascinated by astrology, psychology, and other ologies. And the expression comfort zone has become so habitual that nobody asks the question anymore. What does this actually mean? It turns out our understanding of this term is quite far from the truth. Many think that the comfort zone is some kind of paradise on earth, a place of bliss and peace. But here lies a serious substitution of concepts. We confuse the comfort zone with comfortable surroundings. This is like confusing a prison with luxury apartments only because both have four walls. As Eric Maria Remarque precisely noted in the novel Shadows in Paradise, physical comfort is far more important than spiritual comfort. It's worth trying a little, and a person is already happy. Here's a simple example. You lie in a deck chair on the seashore. Warm wind caresses your skin. In your hands, a glass with a cocktail of exotic fruits. Your body bathes in nirvana from such luxurious surroundings. This is physical comfort, when all the sense organs are satisfied and relaxed. This is like an orchestra where each instrument plays its own melody of harmony. But the real comfort zone is a completely different beast. This is a psychological state that can be compared to a swamp. On the surface, everything is calm and serene. But try to take a step, and it will pull you in so that you won't break free. The comfort zone is a state of consciousness in which the desire to change anything or do anything for the benefit of society is almost completely absent. This is like autopilot in an airplane. Everything flies smoothly, but the pilot completely doesn't control the direction of flight. The paradox is that people can live in complete physical discomfort, urgently need money, huddle in a rented one-room apartment, eat instant noodles, but at the same time remain in the comfort zone. That is, not want and not strive to change their lifestyle. Imagine a person who complains about a small salary, but at the same time is afraid to ask for a raise, change jobs, or start a side job. He is like a hamster in a wheel, runs with all his might, but remains in the same place. This trap is created by habits that are developed as a result of daily satisfaction of basic needs. And it's not at all necessary to satisfy them 100%. Sometimes it's enough to do so somehow. Our brain is an economical manager. It strives to spend as little energy as possible. Therefore, it tells us, why risk? Look, there's food. There's a roof over your head too. The internet works. Live and don't stick out. This is like a thermostat in a house. As soon as the temperature drops below a certain mark, it turns on and returns everything to the familiar state. Only our internal thermostat is set not for comfort, but for survival. Among us, there are not so many people who can be called satisfied with life, with their material situation, social status, personal relationships, work. But everyone you ask has disorder in one sphere of life or another. This is like an iceberg. On the surface, everything seems normal, but underwater hides a huge mass of dissatisfaction. Why does this happen? In childhood, we all dream of a brilliant life, to become a cosmonaut, princess, rock star, or millionaire. Children's dreams burn brightly, like stars in the night sky. When we grow up, nobody forbids us to dream and even do something to embody the dream. Especially in youth, energy gushes forth. It seems that the whole world is at your feet, and any goals are achievable. But at some point from the struggle under the sun for a piece of happiness, most people experience depletion. This is like a marathon runner who at half the distance realizes that strength barely suffices to reach the finish line on foot. Energy runs out. Strength remains only for familiar actions worked out to automatism. Work, home, TV series, sleep, and so in a circle, like a wind, up toy. A person lives by habit, calming himself with promises. Someday in a year, next month, Or for Monday, I'll lose weight, learn English, move to another city, quit the hated job, find the love of my life. The message seems good, but as they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. These promises to oneself become like a carrot in front of a donkey's nose, always nearby, but never achievable. As soon as a real opportunity appears to embody all these Mondays in life, the most interesting begins. A person with good intentions suddenly begins to experience unpleasant sensations, even stress. This is as if you had dreamed all your life of a parachute jump, and when you finally found yourself in an airplane at altitude, suddenly realize that the earth is very far away, and your heart pounds like crazy. Psychological discomfort is a state that seems not painful, but disgusting, like an annoying itch that never goes away. Routine life, like a quagmire, harshly asserts its rights. Habits cling to us like burrs to clothing. Try to tear them off. Something will still remain. And a person experiences cognitive dissonance. When the mind says one thing, and the subconscious something completely different. You thought that changing your life would be easy, like changing a channel on TV, but it turns out not to be so. This is more like trying to turn a huge ship in a narrow strait. It requires time, effort, and considerable skill, and many give up the struggle, saying that life is what it is, and there's nothing to be done about it. As they say, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. As they say, life is like a beautiful garden that you grow for years, and then one unsuccessful day comes and destroys everything. Harsh, but honest. When we are in the comfort zone, everything is familiar to us, which means understandable and predictable. This is like a well-known route to work. You can go almost with closed eyes, not thinking about each step. Therefore, a feeling of security and confidence arises. Our brain loves predictability. It saves energy and reduces stress. Only this feeling can play a cruel joke on us. Being satisfied with staying in familiar conditions, we limit ourselves in personal growth and development. This is like a plant in a small pot. It can grow, but the root system is limited by the size of the container. Sooner or later, growth will stop. And the time now is dynamic. The world is changing at the speed of light. An ordinary person who stands in place is not needed by anyone. Today, those who know how to adapt, learn, develop are in demand. Everyone demands a personality with a capital letter, a person who can offer something unique, non-standard, to start one's own business. This quality is needed doubly. An entrepreneur is by definition a person who goes against the flow, creates something new where others see only problems. In other words, if our life is not blown by the wind of change at least sometimes, both our career and love and social status suffer. We begin to lag behind life, like a train that does not keep up with the schedule. Why then? Realizing this, are we so afraid to leave the comfort zone? And because our psyche is comfortable in conditions of stability, only in this state does it feel protected. Our brain is like a very caring, but excessively protective mother who does not let the child out into the yard because it is dangerous there. So the organism turns on a protective mechanism. Fear, premonition of danger. When a person steps beyond the line of the comfort zone, this fear can manifest differently. Someone's palms begin to sweat before an important conversation with the boss. Someone postpones gym registration to an indefinite tomorrow. And someone cannot decide for months to write a message to a person they like. These are all manifestations of the same mechanism. Our inner guard protects the boundaries of the familiar world. Depending on the size of the comfort zone, a person can experience a whole range of feelings, from light excitement to chilling horror. This is like a spectrum of temperatures. For one person, plus 15 degrees is already cold, and for another, even at 10, it is still tolerable. A classic example. It is very difficult for an ordinary person to decide on a jump from a 10-meter tower. The legs give way. The heart beats like crazy. and the brain screams. This is suicide. And for a diver who has already made dozens of jumps, this is a familiar matter, almost routine. But it was not always so. Once he too stood on the edge of the tower, trembling with fear, and also thought that this was madness. But he crossed the boundaries of his comfort zone and jumped. Now a 10-meter tower for him is like going down the stairs for us. And moreover, the jump causes pleasant excitement in him, a sensation of flight and freedom. Having figured out the cause of our fear of changes, which our selfish psyche provides, let us look around and try to overcome ourselves in something, and then get pleasure from overcoming. What is the trick here? And in that, in order to achieve something, one must get up and move. This is like in the gym. One can read about correct technique as much as one wants. Watch training videos. But muscles will not build up until you take a barbell in your hands. And having achieved something, having gone through thorns to the stars, we get an incredible bonus. We become more confident in ourselves, begin to respect ourselves and believe in our own strength. All these are very pleasant feelings that work like a drug. One wants more and more. A person who has overcome himself once, as a rule, begins to look for new challenges. This is like in a computer game. When you pass one level, the next one opens. More interesting. And to a confident and active person, everything else will be added. Both career and love and recognition of others. People intuitively feel strength and are drawn to such personalities. Why do we need to sip of real life so much? Why is it so necessary to shake off the sticky web of comfort and move forward? As the wise proverb says, what we have, we do not keep. And having lost, we cry. Here's the cruel truth of life. From years of observations of nursing home employees, it is known that before the face of death, when summing up the years lived, people most regret not what they did, but what they did not do. Most of all, they are tormented by the fact that they did not have enough courage to live their own life, suitable precisely for them, and not for others. There was no courage to express their feelings. How much love remained unspoken? There was not enough spirit to do beloved work. How many talents are buried in office cabinets? They did not know how to be friends by the call of the heart, and not by necessity. How many sincere connections were missed? They did not allow themselves to become happy. How much joy passed by? This is like watching a movie of your life and understanding that most of the time you were just an extra in your own story and not the main character. Scary? Very much so. But this is reality for most people. We, for the most part, do not understand the fundamental truth. Our happiness is really a matter of choice, not circumstances, not luck, not parents, not government, but precisely our personal choice. We submit to habits and ordinary ideas about life. We are in golden shackles of comfort of the established way of life. Because of fear of changes and novelty, we put on masks and pretend that we are satisfied with our life, first before others, and then before ourselves. This is like an actor who played a role for so long that he forgot who he really is. We are afraid to remove the mask because under it, there may turn out to be a completely different person. Unfamiliar, but real. I have been engaged in self-development for a long time, and from my own experience learned to leave the comfort zone. Believe me, this is like learning to swim. At first, it is scary to enter the water, but when you get used to it, you do not want to come out to the shore. I have tried many techniques and methods, from classical psychological practices to exotic Eastern techniques, and I want to share with you what really works. At the moment, I have not found anything better than reality transurfing techniques for myself. And here is why this is so effective. After all, Vadim Zealand, the author of Reality Transurfing, suggests not just plunging into the unknown headfirst, sharply leaving the comfort zone. This can be too traumatic for the psyche. Instead, he suggests starting small, gradually expanding this very comfort zone. As if pushing apart the boundaries of your personal world by a centimeter each day. This is a safe and wise approach. Imagine that your comfort zone is a circle. Instead of jumping immediately beyond its limits, you make this circle a little bigger each day. Today by a millimeter. Tomorrow by another millimeter. In a month you look back and understand that you are already where a month ago it was scary to even imagine yourself. And this works perfectly. The psyche does not resist because changes happen gradually and organically. This is like getting used to cold water. First up to the ankles, then up to the knees. And now you are already diving headfirst, getting pleasure from what recently seemed impossible. Psyche. And this works perfectly. To learn this, I suggest you start with the basics. And the best conclusion of this video will be the words of Mark Twain. Away from the safe harbor. Catch the tailwind with your sails. Explore. Dream. Discover. If you have questions or wishes, write in the comments. I will definitely answer each one. And subscription will give you the opportunity to receive new information and become a participant in the process of transforming your life.